Have you ever found yourself lying in bed at 2 in the morning, staring blindly at the ceiling, completely physically exhausted, but mentally trapped in an endless loop? You are not replaying the things you accomplished that day. You are not thinking about the conversations that went perfectly and ended with a polite goodbye. Instead, your mind is obsessively replaying the things that were left unfinished. You are agonizing over a text message that was never answered. You are obsessing over a vague comment someone made right before they walked away. You are analyzing the behavior of someone who pulled back from your life without giving you any closure. What you are experiencing in that exact moment of late-night anxiety is not love, it is not fate, and it is certainly not a deep, mystical soulmate connection. It is a biological glitch. It is a fundamental error in the primitive source code of your brain. Today, I am going to teach you exactly how to exploit this exact biological glitch in the minds of other people. I am going to show you how to become that intrusive, inescapable thought at 2 in the morning. In the world of high-level influence and dark psychology, we call this the Zeigarnik Glitch, or the open-loop hack. By the time this video ends, you will possess the precise psychological framework to implant yourself into anyone's mind and make them think about you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, without you having to lift a single finger or send a single desperate message. But I must issue a very serious warning before we proceed. The knowledge you are about to acquire is cognitive manipulation in its purest form. You are about to learn how to weaponize the deepest human need of all, which is the need for closure. Once you start applying this framework, people will become highly attached to you, and you must be entirely prepared to handle the intense emotional obsession that this technique creates. To truly master this glitch and understand why it is so devastatingly effective in modern American society, you first need to understand how the human brain processes information on a daily basis. The human mind is an advanced biological machine meticulously designed to solve problems, identify patterns, and close loops. Your brain hates uncertainty and incompletion more than anything else in the entire world. Imagine that your mind is the central processor of a high-powered computer or your smartphone, and every single thought, every interaction, and every relationship you have is an open application running in the background. When you have a conversation that reaches a logical, satisfying conclusion, it is the equivalent of closing out that application. Your brain frees up that temporary memory, reclaims its emotional energy, relaxes, and moves on to the next task of the day. But what happens when a conversation is abruptly cut off right at the climax? What happens when someone looks you in the eye and says they realized something incredibly important about you, but they tell you they will explain it tomorrow? That mental application stays open in the background, draining the battery of your mental processor. Your brain enters a state of high alert and painful obsession. It literally cannot archive the memory because the file is incomplete. The human brain cannot tolerate an open ending. It biologically requires closure in order to rest. When you intentionally deny someone that closure, you are literally hijacking their attention span. Their mind is forced to work overtime, generating hypothetical scenarios, imagining endless possibilities, and burning massive amounts of emotional energy. And the most powerful part is that all of this massive cognitive effort is directed entirely at you. This concept is not some modern internet dating theory. It was actually discovered and proven in the 1920s by a brilliant psychologist named Bluma Zeigarnik. She was sitting in a crowded, fast-paced restaurant in Vienna, observing the environment, when she noticed something absolutely fascinating about the behavior of the waitstaff. She realized that these waiters could perfectly remember incredibly complex orders for massive tables, including highly specific modifications for each dish, without writing down a single word on a notepad. But this seemingly superhuman memory had a very specific limitation. It only lasted until the food was actually delivered to the table. The exact second the order was completed and the customer received their plate, the waiter's memory of that complex order was completely erased. If you asked that same waiter what they had just served a mere 5 minutes after delivering the food, they had absolutely no idea. Their brain had deleted the file because the loop was closed. Zeigarnik took this profound observation back to the laboratory and discovered a fundamental law of human behavior. The human brain remembers interrupted or incomplete tasks 90% better than completed tasks. The psychological tension of an incomplete situation acts like superglue in the human memory. Now, I want you to take this proven scientific principle and apply it to the modern power dynamics of the United States. Apply it to the modern dating market, to high-stakes corporate negotiations, and to the endless stream of iMessages and social media direct messages we deal with every single day. The person who controls the closure of the interaction is the person who controls the mind of the other individual, with absolutely zero exceptions. If you are always the one providing long explanations, if you are always the one sending the final text message to ensure everything is perfectly clear, or if you always stay until the bitter end of a date or a meeting to make sure everyone is happy, you are closing the loops for them. You are handing them the exact peace of mind they need to completely forget about you the second you walk out the door. If you are starting to see the profound reality of how human psychology actually dictates your daily life, and you want to master the hidden dynamics of power, take 1 second right now to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. This community is dedicated to revealing the high-level tactics of persuasion and influence that the rest of the world desperately tries to keep hidden from you. If you want to maintain absolute control in all of your relationships, whether in the boardroom or in your personal life, and never be the emotional victim of someone else's games again, you are in the exact right place. Join the top 1% right now and let us dive straight back into the hacking of the human mind. Let us transition into the practical, real-world application of the Zeigarnik Glitch, starting with the most dominant form of communication in our era, which is text messaging. The vast majority of people make the critical, fatal error of being entirely too predictable and entirely too accessible via text. When they are texting someone they are interested in, they follow a predictable rhythm. They answer questions fully, they ask a question back, and they naturally let the conversation wind down to a boring, logical conclusion, like saying good night or I will talk to you later. This is a massive missed opportunity. To deploy the Zeigarnik Glitch via text, you must learn the art of the digital cliffhanger. You must learn to cut the cord exactly when the emotional momentum is at its absolute highest peak. Imagine you are having a fantastic, engaging text conversation with someone you want to influence. They are laughing, they are responding quickly, and the dopamine is flowing. Right at the height of that conversation, you send a message that says, "You know, I was thinking about what you said earlier, and I just realized something really crazy about your personality." They will instantly reply, their curiosity completely piqued, asking what you mean,
What did you realize? Tell me. This is the critical moment. This is where 99% of people fail because they want to please the other person. They want to give the answer to seem smart or insightful. You must do the exact opposite. You look at their message, you let the read receipt show if you have them on, and you put your phone on Do Not Disturb. You do not reply for 12 to 16 hours. You tell them absolutely nothing. You have just successfully opened a massive cognitive loop in their brain.
Think about what happens to them physically and mentally over those next 12 hours. They will check their phone every 5 minutes. They will reread the entire text thread from the beginning, trying to find clues as to what you could possibly mean. They will wonder if they said something revealing, if you figured out a secret of theirs, or if you are judging them. They will show the screenshots to their friends, asking for an interpretation. Do you see the raw power of this? By withholding a single sentence, you have forced them to dedicate hours of their mental bandwidth to analyzing you. When you finally do reply the next day, casually brushing it off by saying, "Oh, sorry, I got caught up with something important. I will tell you when I see you," you have just extended that open loop indefinitely. You have essentially guaranteed that they will be desperately looking forward to your next face-to-face interaction, completely eager to hear what you have to say. You have shifted the dynamic from you chasing them to them desperately chasing your validation and your closure. Now, let us elevate this tactic and apply it to the highly competitive environment of corporate America and professional networking. In a business setting, the person who speaks the most and gives away the most information is always perceived as the weakest person in the room. They are the ones seeking approval from the group. The Zeigarnik Glitch is incredibly effective in meetings, sales pitches, and negotiations. When you are presenting an idea or a solution, you never give them the complete blueprint all at once. If you give a client or a boss every single detail from A to Z, you have closed the loop. They have all the data they need, they feel satisfied, and they no longer need you in that immediate moment. Instead, you present the problem, you demonstrate your deep understanding of the pain points, and you outline a highly compelling vision of the outcome, but you intentionally withhold the most critical steps of the execution. You say something like, "I have developed a specific framework to solve this efficiency issue that will cut costs by 20%, but it requires a very unconventional shift in how we handle the logistics. Let us schedule a brief follow-up on Thursday to discuss the exact implementation steps." By deliberately stopping short of the complete answer, you create an intellectual itch that they cannot scratch without you. You become the missing piece of the puzzle. Throughout the rest of the week, whenever that corporate problem crosses their mind, their brain will automatically associate the solution with your face and your incomplete strategy. They will be the ones reaching out to confirm the Thursday meeting. They will be the ones actively pursuing your time. This completely flips the standard corporate dynamic where employees are begging managers for attention. By weaponizing incomplete information, you make yourself the prize. You position yourself as a high-value asset who possesses scarce knowledge simply because you know exactly when to stop talking. The physical, real-world application of the Zeigarnik Glitch is perhaps the most potent form of all, especially when dealing with romantic or social dynamics. It is the principle of always leaving the party while you are still having fun. Most people operate under the flawed assumption that a good date or a good hangout should last as long as physically possible. They think that if things are going well, they should stay until the conversation naturally dries up, the energy dips, and both people are tired. This is a fatal mistake for your perceived value.
If you stay until the energy fizzles out, that low energy, exhausted feeling is the exact memory the other person will walk away with. You have closed the loop, and you have closed it on a downward slope. To use the glitch, you must be the one to abruptly cut the interaction short while the energy is still skyrocketing. If you are on a date and the conversation is electric, the chemistry is high, and they are completely captivated by your presence, that is your cue. You look at your watch, you smile warmly, and you say, "This has been genuinely incredible, but I actually have an early commitment tomorrow and I need to get going right now." You do not explain what the commitment is. You keep it vague. You stand up, you warmly end the interaction, and you leave them sitting there wanting so much more. You have just abruptly interrupted a highly pleasurable experience. Because their brain was denied the natural, exhausting conclusion of the evening, it will fixate on that high watermark of pleasure. They will go home completely energized, thinking about how amazing the date was and how disappointed they are that it ended so soon. That disappointment is actually the fuel for obsession. They will be the ones texting you before you even get home, telling you what a great time they had and asking when they can see you again. You have successfully planted the Zeigarnik Glitch in their mind by refusing to let the flame burn out naturally. The true mastery of this psychological framework is realizing that human beings are profoundly addicted to mystery. In an era where everyone overshares every detail of their lives on social media, where everyone explains their every move, mystery is the rarest and most valuable social commodity you can possess. The Zeigarnik Glitch is not about being malicious or playing childish games. It is about deeply understanding the mechanics of human desire. Desire cannot exist in a state of absolute certainty. Desire requires a gap. It requires space. It requires an unknown element to survive. When you constantly close loops for people, you are suffocating their ability to desire you. By strategically leaving tasks incomplete, by pausing before the punchline, and by walking away exactly when they want you to stay, you force their imagination to do all the heavy lifting. And trust me, their imagination will always build you up into something far more powerful, far more mysterious, and far more attractive than reality ever could. You must view every single interaction you have moving forward as a psychological loop. Your objective is never to be the person frantically trying to tie the knot at the end. Let them wonder, let them wait, let their own biology trap them in a cycle of anticipation. Once you embrace the power of the unresolved, you will notice a massive shift in how the world responds to you. People will seek your attention, they will double text you, and they will go out of their way to figure you out. You will no longer be the one overthinking at 2 in the morning because you will be too busy occupying the minds of everyone else. If this deep dive into the hidden architecture of human psychology shifted your perspective, make sure you hit the subscribe button right now. Leave a comment down below with the word glitch so I know you made it all the way to the end and you belong to the elite tier of people who actually apply this knowledge to master their reality. Do not forget to check the link in the description for even more advanced, uncensored strategies on dominating social dynamics and taking absolute control of your life. Until next time, keep your loops open, keep them guessing, and never give away the ending.